Get sick and tired of this, man. Dealing with fucking kids. Hell of a way to start things off. Now I'm just mad because my neighbors keep leaving that waste of space over in the in-house. They always got the sidewalk blocked with something. Cars, tree branches, now leaves. You got all them leaves blowing up over there on the sidewalk. Anyway, going back to what I was thinking about. What was I thinking about? Oh, yeah. Yeah, there might be a respiratory ailment that gets him in the end. I knew when my dad went through that stroke, he had lost some years off his life, maybe 10 years. And it's weird things like, see, I realized I was watching my videos and I've been blowing my nose and hacking up stuff, and it's unpleasant to anybody who might be watching this, along with listening to me talk, unfortunately. Like, I'm gonna keep doing it because I'm me. But as bad as I'm having it, he's having it about 10 times worse. He's hacking and he's coughing and he's sneezing and he's vomiting up stuff. Stuff like this just makes my dad go crazy. The pollen from trees and whatnot. And I'm worried that he might be at an age where he's vulnerable to this kind of stuff and he comes down with pneumonia or whatnot. And at his age, that's pretty much a death sentence. You get past 60, that's a lot of what takes you out, is these respiratory ailments, because your immune system is not what it used to be. And it's amazing how fast it could just take you out. Anyway, I got that stuck in my head, and then on the back burner, I've just been thinking about feminism. First wave, second wave, and now third wave. I hear there's a fourth wave. I guess I'll have to do some more research and find out what they're all about. You know, and you get a negative connotation of ugly flannel wearing extremists. Or militants, that's what I'm going to say, militants. You got Married with Children. Married with Children did a lot of damage to feminism. It made it look this. It made it look retarded. But the thing is, it made both sides look retarded. It made like it made the feminists look like they were just a bunch of people that you couldn't negotiate with, and it made men look like cavemen, like trolls. And I see in other media, and it's just painting this brush. And so I had that image in my head. And then I've had conversations with people who call themselves feminists, and it just seemed like a bunch of assholes who were just out looking for an argument. When it comes to these organizations, I'm not talking to their best people. I'm talking to the opportunists, the jerks, and the outcasts. I can't call myself a feminist, and I can't say that I believe in feminism because I don't believe in the concept of equality. Because the problem with equality is what you think people should be equal at. In other words, not everybody's equal. This is the harsh reality. What I do believe in, I don't necessarily believe in equality, but I do believe in fairness. I believe and I would like everyone to have a shot. I believe in respect for the sentient. And I believe in grace for the non-sentient. And that's about as far as I can go. For me personally, having lived under a lifetime of a lot of assholes. I guess the city no longer lives and dies by the cowboys. But for me, living under 2 generations of feminism, what it forced me to do forced me to rethink how I see things, especially when it comes to sex and relationships with women. You know, you watch a lot of media and you talk to a lot of the boys, and it's just this fun thing that we do on weekends, and let's see what kind of mischief we can get into, and we call it getting lucky. What feminism forces you to do, forces you to see how your idea of fun can come at someone else's expense. Where you see an opportunity to have fun with something warm and wet. On the other side, there's risk. So what feminism to me did, it made sex risky. Something you really think about. And you think that's a good thing, until you raise an entire generation of folks that are risk averse. So something that you need to start families with, people aren't doing because they've been taught it's too damn risky. So inadvertently a scarcity has been created. I guess I should have had this conversation on the street or I should have had this talk with myself on a street less crowded with assholes. I guess what's changed in the last 48 hours is I went from a guy who was angry and confused to a guy who's understanding and confused. The confusion's never going to go away. What was I saying to myself? Women are photons. So what brought about this change? Oh, ho, ho. What brought about this change, you may ask? As soon as I get around this corner, I'll try to expand into that. Maybe there'll be less assholes driving down the street. I guess that's the perfect illustration. There used to be a Royal Gym, and a Royal Gym was like a symbol of masculinity for 20 years. One of my coaches, he had got his bodybuilding guys, and they worked out at that gym. And now it's gone. You can see the outline a little bit where he used to say Royal Gym. And there's Nicole's Fitness, there's Zumba, and a bunch of nail salons. A ton of stuff for women, but nothing for guys anymore. Anyway. That's not anger, that's depression. I was saying, the reason I've been thinking about this for the last 40 hours, I was organizing my comic books again. And started reading some of them. And I always find these things that's got a pretty woman on the cover, and I started reading it. And feminist propaganda has pervaded a lot of the comic book titles these days. They're trying to get girls and women to buy these things, and they think that's what they want. We just want to read more stories about women and and the struggle. I was like, no, they just want to read fantasy stories about people ripping stuff up and beating up bad guys. But okay. But anyway, it led me to start doing some more research. I don't know, sometimes I look at the future and I think it's going to wind up being like that future in Demolition Man. On the surface, there'll be a bunch of weak PC folks just walking around, not wanting to offend anybody, but trying to live happy lives by following the codes. And they live pretty sterile, boring lives with very little interaction. With a very little deep interaction. And then there'll be a whole group of folks underground that live like some kind of weird libertarian anarchist mole people, running around eating rat burgers and creating havoc for the people on the surface. Keep thinking about that line Dennis Valeri was talking about. I didn't want to be a 40-year-old virgin drinking a broccoli shake, singing I'm an Oscar Mayer wiener. And here I stand, a 40-year-old virgin, eating organic soups, listening to video game tracks, because they aren't really that offensive and it's not too commercial. I became the guys from Demolition Squad. Demolition Man. It's like, have you even seen the movie? It's like, yeah, I saw the movie. I just slipped. But I'm that guy walking around in the weird kimono. With no desire to have contact or conversation with anyone else. I keep thinking about Sandra Bullock. She was in there, he's like, let's have sex. And Sylvester Stallone just looking all weird, like, okay. And her idea of sex was to put on a piece of headgear and broadcast their thoughts back and forth. And that was as good as it got. And I live in a day and age where you gotta sit in front of a computer. There'll be porn, virtual or real. And that's pretty much how he broadcasts his thoughts back and forth. You think he'll ever get that bad? I keep hearing about herbivore men. And there's the guys I work with. And it's a weird thing because like one of the guys I work with, 60-something years old. He's a complete horn dog. And he chats up women. He's always looking and pointing out. He's, oh my God, she's hot. Look at her. Look at her. I was like, no, we don't look anymore. We don't. Nope. And he just looks at me weird. I was like, yeah, we don't do that anymore. I was like, why not? Because it's creepy. We don't want to be seen as creeps. So we don't look anymore. It's like, what if you want to say something? We don't say anything anymore. Because if we say stuff, we'll be creepy, and we don't want to be creeps. So you don't look at them, you don't say anything. Nope. How do they know you're interested? There are apps you can use. But for the most part, you just wait for them to talk to you. And if they don't say anything to you, then that's life. The way I understood it was, don't call us, we'll call you. And if we don't call you, then it's just not meant to be. I have never... That's what feminism says. Don't call us, we'll call you. Never gotten a phone call. And I go on these sites and I listen, they say, why don't men chat us up anymore? Why don't men even try to approach anymore? You said that was creepy. They want to be creepy. Well, that's how you do it. And I was like, well, how do you do it? Well, you do it this way, and you turn it at a 45-degree angle, and then you have to make sure it's on this day. And that sounds awfully complicated. It is, but we think it's worth it. Yeah, well, I don't. And then you read about the pickup artists who ignore all that. They say, just be a total douchebag. They respond to that. But I don't want to do that. Do it. Otherwise, you'll never be a success. And unfortunately, those guys do succeed. And it's just god awful. It's like, why do I have to be like that? It's just the way it is. Like, well, the way it is sucks. Anyway, two completely different generations. So he's horn dogging it. You know, he's being like the guy that we used to be like. And the other guys, they never even, they show no signs of interest whatsoever. One dude, all he does is play video games. Never brings up, like, I've gotten kind of to glean from the guy that, well, the bottom line is they show no interest. These guys are guarded. If they are interested, it's the interest lies in whatever's on a hard drive somewhere. that the world will never find out about. And I thought, well, maybe it's just the guys I hang around. They're in the geek culture. I got nephews like that now. Show no interest. I go to the gym. It used to be that about 4 or 5 years ago, I'd see a guy going over to a girl and having a nice conversation, trying to get something to spark. Now the guys are looking at their cell phones. The girl's in there. She's trying to get some kind of attention. You can see her looking around, seeing if somebody's looking back. And the dude's just on their cell phones. Not a peep. This is progress, by the way. Progress is you don't say anything, you don't look, and you use your smart device if you're going to do anything. Maybe you'll get some kind of real connection. More than likely, it'll be virtual. That's progress. And it's weird to just see all these guys who are not risk averse. You see a guy out there, he's playing roulette, man. He's a gambler. Guys who gamble, guys who go to Vegas. They're guys getting laid. But at the same time, they're guys rife with problems. No risk, no reward, right? But is the reward worth it? What do you think? I think it's sad when I go to married men. When I was growing up, I would ask them, is it worth it? And they said, yeah. You know, my wife drives me crazy sometimes, but I think it's worth it. I'll be talking to a guy tonight who loves his wife to death. I literally mean that. His wife's pretty much the only thing keeping him alive. He's tired of the world. When he talks about his wife, he beams. He's rare. He's the only guy I've met like that. Every other guy I talk to, before I could even ask the question, dude, it just pops out of his mouth. Don't get married. Why do y'all keep saying that? Divorce, guys. Would you ever get married again? Hell no. We're not talking about recently divorced. We're talking about 20 years. The kids are grown. Every once in a while he gets together with his ex and they hang out. But no, he would never get married again. I think it's sad. You see, I'm a romantic at heart. I like that whole idea. You went through a whole bunch of ordeals. You rescued the princess. You put yourself out there. You made the effort. And at the end, you love and live happily ever after. It wasn't even about sex. It was just about getting the kiss, the embrace, just being able to touch. A lot of times I sit there and that's in me. It's hard to shake. At my core, I'm a romantic. At my core, I was a dreamer. But my heart and exterior, my armor is of cynicism. And now nihilism. It just doesn't seem to be a point to it anymore. It's not about conversation. You know, conversation, you can have that with anybody. That's a genderless need that can be met. There's just something different about being able to wrap your arms around someone, hold them close and not even say anything. Just being able to touch. And that's lost in me. It's weird. And a guy's not supposed to admit that, but there are guys, I'm a guy who just, all I want to do is cuddle. And it's hard. What do you do about it? There's nothing you can do about it. It is what it is. And I hear all these stories about guys shooting up stuff and doing all this crazy shit, and it's like, why do they do stuff like that? And I was like, you guys will never understand that. There was a need that just wasn't being met. You lambaste the guy for not trying hard enough, and you just don't know. Guys bend over backwards, they break themselves, and then eventually something in them just snaps. Unfortunately, they think they have to take it out on everybody else. I understand why the bomb exploded. I just wish it hadn't. I got people around me who don't understand why the bomb exploded. I was like, that was nitro cooking in a pot, man. Am I like that? No. I'll take myself out long before I take out anybody else. Everyone else seems to be enjoying the game. I gotta ruin it. Gotta miss that house. It went from a ranch-style hacienda to whatever that is. That's progress. Faux stone and aluminum siding. Not digging it? No, hell no, I'm not digging it. That's what they wanted. Nah, it's the thing about that dude from, I was watching Penn and Teller's bullshit. I was like, meet Dave. And Dave was the guy dressed button. He got on a suit, a nice trench coat, very presentable. Problem with Dave was he had an unrealistic expectation of order. So he does like I'm doing, running around, commenting on how many people are douchebags, just hating society and life. Kind of mellowed out a little bit, but as you heard at the start of the thing, I'm still griping about my neighbors leaving leaves all over the goddamn sidewalk. It's especially bad because we have a broken sidewalk in that part. Leaves cover up everything, so you can't see where you're stepping. My dad doesn't even try to go on that sidewalk anymore. He's just, it's a lost cause to him. I go by that house and they had a loose stray dog that was sitting there. And if you didn't know the dog was pretty docile, it startled you. At least she seemed like she was docile around me. I keep thinking it's just a matter of time where something comes nipping at my heels as I come around the corner. Cars pull out every once in a while. The guy's not even looking where he's going. Cars parked illegally on the street so that when people try to make a right turn into the street or a left turn into the street, they damn near hit the car coming in. The house is maybe 1-2 bedroom and they got like 5 or 6 people living there. Maybe not living there, but they always got cars in there. And like I said, I'm going across there and they got a tree branch that sits there. 1 week goes by, I say, maybe they just don't have time. 2 weeks goes by, the branch is still sitting there. But eventually I just went in there one night, you saw it on the camera, I just grabbed him, I started yanking it, throwing him around. It's like, you know, it took me 5 seconds to do that. Why couldn't these fuckers do that? Spent the whole year letting go of justice. Two things I stopped believing in. Justice and God. An interesting year. What do you believe in? I'll just keep walking till one day I can't walk anymore. Then it'll be over. I'll enjoy a good meal, but I won't pig out anymore. I'm never gonna have what I want from the opposite sex. And that's alright. I understand what they have to risk, what they have to lose. Like I said in my comments, I openly jeer them, secretly fear. I openly jeer them, sometimes fear them, but I secretly cheer for them. Ladies, I want you to succeed. I just can't help you anymore. I can't help you because I seem to be getting in the way. I want to, but I don't know what to do. Sometimes I don't know what to do because I don't know what you want me to do, or what you want me to do is fucking unreasonable. And so all I can do is cheer for you. Still anger there? I think there's always going to be anger. but I don't think it's directed to them anymore. Because the way they're acting, there's a reason why they're acting that way. You know, I wish I could impale Harvey Weinstein on a spike, because he's part of that old system that came out back in the days of MGM and Warner Brothers, where these guys got away with being just utter, deplorable human beings, and they had studio fixers that would just make that whole thing go away. And what happens, like what happens in any revolution that turns back in on itself, I got all men being painted with a pretty nasty and broad brush. I lament what happened to Bill Cosby. Part of me still is still in kind of a denial. You start thinking in yourself, you start making stuff up, you start thinking, well, maybe they were asking for roofing coladas. Maybe they knew why they were there, and they just asked for something to take the edge off. And old Bill Cosby gave them something super strong. Part of me's got to believe that that the ladies were partially complicit in what they were getting into. At the end of the day, all I see is a 80-year-old hypocritical guy who just took what he wanted. And got away with it because he was the made man in the system. Like I said, we're not talking about sexism or toxic masculinity. You can throw all the terms you want on that stupid bullshit. What the fuck? Everywhere. It's not even peace here. But you can throw all the bullshit terms you want on it. But at the end of the day, what we're really protesting about, what women are really mad about, and that's what every sentient person is mad about, is absolute power. That's why nothing happened. That's why nothing changed after the whole Me Too thing and all this other bullshit that's going on. This has nothing to do with me. This is about power. And it makes you sick to your stomach. Because one group's trying to use this to leverage themselves into getting more power, but not necessarily find the solution to the problem. And the other group, they are still comfortably entrenched. There was a battering ram that came up to the gates, and they did not breach the walls. Reading stories about guys won't even mentor girls anymore, or won't even mentor women anymore. Open door meetings. I mean, it's just crazy. But it's funny to see the older generation doing what the younger generation is doing. We don't talk to them. We don't look. What? Yeah. We don't want to be seen as creepy. Then you see all these angry comments, then don't be fucking creepy. I was like, it's hard not to be creepy when that definition, the goalposts on that definition change every week. I don't know anything about Aziz Ansari. Never saw a single bit of his comedy. I think I say the name right. Not sure. Don't even care. But The bottom line is he was a guy who knew what he wanted, having sex with a girl who didn't really know what she wanted. That's it. She was hurt and she was jilted, and that was used to paint Aziz Ansari as some kind of creep. I was like, okay. But we know that about successful people. We know that in order to get ahead, sometimes you just gotta be willing to step on people. But I think he's a nice guy. I didn't think he was a nice guy before that. Thought he was a second-rate hack comedian. He probably stole a couple of jokes here and there. And he got where he got because we want diversity in everything. Well, this was our way of saying, look, we're diverse. See, we've got a comedian who's doing well, who's from an ethnicity other than white. Really great, wonderful. Nobody's nerfect. Nobody's nerfect. That's the funny way of saying nobody's perfect. I don't know, man. So one day maybe they'll sit down and they'll have an actual conversation about abuses of power. Instead of painting it as, I had a lousy sexual encounter with a guy who said he worked at this place, but he was actually a cashier at 7-Eleven. Yeah, that sucks, man. Life. What can you do? Meanwhile, some sugar daddy just got him a girl from Eastern Europe who's basically just his living sex doll. And he's gonna get away with it. Because he's rich and because he's powerful. And because that's the thing we don't unite against. All you've taught these guys after the whole Me Too thing is that I'm going to have to go professional to get my sexual needs taken care of. Which is probably something they should have been doing in the first place, but they just didn't want to pay for professional services. Now they will. So I guess the positive that came out of this was the sex worker market is going to be booming. Business wasn't good before, it's gangbusters now. My God, Me Too just made Putin richer. Me Too just made the cartels more powerful. Me Too just gave a boost to organized crime. That's scary to think. Weird. Oh well, you know what they say about the road to hell. Like, what would you have rather them done? Like the people who did Occupy Wall Street, I wanted them to come up with some kind of coherent strategy instead of just yelling and griping and see, this is the stuff we have to go through. It's like, all right, what's your solution to the problem? Maybe we can have more women writers. Maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do that. It's like, maybe we can. But we're not going to. Why not? Because what you want is small time. You're not going after the power. You're just asking to be added to it. And that's why it fails. That's why Occupy Wall Street failed. That's why Me Too fails. You're not asking to topple the corrupt power. You're asking for a stake in it. You can't have a stake in a system that treats you like shit. Take it from a guy who comes from a group of people who tried all that. That's unfortunately where the limitation came in on the civil rights movement. You can't be a part of a system that oppresses you. And that's why I stay pissed off 24/7. That's why I don't really complain too much about the powers that be. I get it now. Jerry Jones just got richer tonight. Do you think that satisfies Jerry Jones? Hell no. Jerry Jones wants his own league. Someday he may get it. If he doesn't die first, he may get it. And I just don't watch. I don't watch that anymore. I'm not trying to participate in that. I don't care if they hire another black coach. I don't care about any of that other stuff. National anthem protest, none of that matters anymore. I guess that's the revolution that we need to start having. If you don't like the system, stop participating in it. All these people keep telling you this bullshit about voting, and you don't vote, you don't have a right to say anything, and blah blah, all that. It's all bullshit. When governments were toppled, what happened was people stopped participating in it. They stopped following the rules. They stopped respecting authority. They stopped participating in the system, and the system started crumbling. Why aren't you guys engaging with us anymore? Why aren't y'all doing anything anymore? Why aren't... America needs to go on strike. Hell, the world needs to go on strike. There needs to be a bunch of pissed off people who just stop shouting at the people in power and just stop having anything to do with them whatsoever. And it's tough. It's tough to pull off because you're still going to have to go to Walmart. You're still going to have to go to work. And you're still going to have to drive everywhere. Actually, I guess you don't have to. I guess one day enough people gets pissed off. Say, what happened? 100,000 people just stopped going to work. Just them? Well, it was just them. And then 1 million people stopped going to work. And then 2 million people stopped going to work. You got a real problem on your hands at that point. 2 million people not shopping. Especially if they become 2 million squatters who don't pay their bills. Well, send the police to a victim. We don't have that many police. It's like they figured it out. They figured it out? Yeah, they figured out if they don't do anything. If enough of them don't do anything, we can't do anything. That's all I'm saying. If enough people stop doing stuff, doing anything, the whole system starts grinding to a halt. But who wants to make that sacrifice, right? And so I walk I'll walk until one day I won't be able to, and then it'll be over. All right, asshole, what you gonna do? God save me. Actually, don't. Fuck it.